welcome back to Autism for Badass Moms, the podcast where it is okay to be you, it's okay to be badass, it's okay to be just everything autism mommy. I am so excited to have this wonderful woman sitting next to me, gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous. Look at her scarf. Her name is Richera. Richera's here, and she lives in New Jersey.
Yeah, I live
Originally
in
from New York, right?
Originally from Long Island, yeah.
Glen
Cove, Long Island. Yeah.
Long Island. So I love have my Jersey, New York people come to the studio. So this is just absolutely amazing. So welcome to the show, Richera.
Oh, thank you for inviting me. What a pleasure. I'm honored to be here.
So I just want to jump right into it to talk about your journey with autism. Mm-hmm. We're similar in a sense because you have two children with special needs.
I do. I have two girls.
Yeah, two girls. I have two boys. That is so funny. So I have two boys, and they functioning level are different. Their needs are different. So would you be able to take our listeners back to when you got the diagnosis with your first daughter?
I might believe it was probably 2013, and it was around maybe like 6 months into 8 months when we realized that she just wasn't hitting certain milestones. When we would go to the doctor, it was kind of like, no, she's not doing that yet. No, she's kind of not doing that yet either. And when I would talk to her, she wouldn't really like focus on me. You know, It was kind of like I would have to call her name a couple times for her to like give me that eye contact. So I believe then was where we were like, there might be something going on here.
I know it's a struggle too when you have that first child. So you may not have that child to compare to. Now, again, with the different things that you were seeing, how was other people seeing that as well?
Living with me, but I would notice it like at the playground. Once she got older, she wasn't like as interested in playing with others. She was kind of like into her own thing, into her own space, you know. So that too gave reason, was in addition with the milestones, it was her non-interacting with other children on the playground.
Okay.
So yeah, it was things like that.
Now, did your pediatrician diagnose? Or
the pediatrician, not necessarily. She was just in agreement with that there were milestones that weren't being met. But at that time, we were going to. I lived in New York, so we were going to New York Presbyterian, but they had Center for Autism and the Developing Brain in White Plains. But they were like a subsidiary, like a sister to New York Presbyterian. They were in the family. So we made an appointment and we took her there. So they had rigorous testing there. And that's where the hard determination was made.
Okay. And had you been familiar with autism before that?
No, I wouldn't say necessarily autism. There was a time that I worked with disadvantaged youth in New Jersey, with Covenant House, with different group homes. So I had worked with children who were on, who had social emotional issues, who might have been on some psychotropic drugs and stuff like that. So I saw it more on that end, but not like in my family or like had a friend at that point.
Okay. Now, what was it like when you heard, your daughter, we feel like that she has autism?
At that time, I still didn't have the full grasp of what it meant, what it entailed. But the Center for Autism and the Developing Brain, they interviewed us. I think they had a 2-day where they would interview the parent and just talk about different things with delays and children with delays. And then it was a 3-day process where they would do different testing and like sequences of testing with my daughter. So at the same time that they were doing tests with her, they were also informing me. So that's where I got like the initial information, and then I started like doing my own research and just kind of going there.
Yeah. And so for some, they would consider it a grieving process, especially having your first child. And, we have this, I think any parent has the thought of like, oh, my child will be this, and it's going to be fun to be able to do this. Do you feel like that was for you, that you went through that at all, or was that not your experience?
Well, at that point, I think I thought about, okay, I'm going to be needed more as far as like hands-on, because I'm just like that type of person, relatively, where maybe someone just dropped their child off at school. Like, I really want to be hands-on. So I had to make a decision whether the job that I currently had was going to accommodate all these therapies that I now found out that my daughter would need. The speech therapy, the OT, the PT. And at that time, it was like, she had OT downtown on 80th Street, and then we lived on 132nd, and I had to hurry up and rush her back to the house because then the physical therapist was coming, and then we had the physical therapy was at the park, so then we had to go to the park, and so
It's a lot.
So it was a lot.
Yeah.
And if you're from the city, it's kind of like alternate side parking at the same time, and so I didn't really have that much time to ponder on it because it was just so go time that it was kind of like the race was starting.
Did you leave your current job to be able to make room for these appointments?
I did at that time. I was into health and fitness. I had just come from being a buyer for Whole Foods, so I was just really into that, and that was my passion because I like to, I'm all about health and fitness and eating right and, eating from the earth and stuff. But they weren't going to accommodate her schedule. So I kind of bumped into reselling. Like, I kind of bumped into reselling.
Tell me how you bumped into it.
I was looking online and I found this website. I think the first one I found was swap.com.
Okay.
And that was where you can take your children's old clothes and resell them and get paid for it. And I was like, what? So I was she was growing, she was going through clothes and shoes, and I was losing weight and going through, stuff as well. And I just started taking pictures and uploading them. I went on the roof of the brownstone that we lived in because that was the best lighting. Wow. And I went to the dollar store and I got a white opaque thing as my background, and I just started getting to it. And that's how I fell in love, and that's how I got the reseller bug.
Now I think about you being on top of a brownstone and trying to get the lighting, and now you could just like sit at a table or do all these things, AI and stuff like that. So very impressive.
Yeah.
Very impressive. Was it, do you feel like financially you were able to support yourself right away with that business, or did it take time?
I don't want to say it was right away, but it was kind of like within a week, her stuff was selling, So I was like, whoa. And then it was like selling like at 2 a.m. in the morning when I'm like sleep. So I was like, whoa, maybe this is something, you know what I mean? So then I started looking into more websites, and I was like, oh, well, then I was like, well, I started getting into more of my stuff. Like, well, let's feed this baby, and I just started progressing and getting on more websites and taking more pictures, and then I found Poshmark. And Poshmark kind of was like a community of moms that were also selling, and I met other moms where they used to do Posh and Sips, where they would rent out like a cafe, and we would come for lunch, and we would talk about reselling, what's working for you, what's working for
wow.
me. And then it was like after we ate together, we would play like little bingo games and stuff. We would go to different thrift stores and we would shop together and stuff like that. So it kind of was like a camaraderie with it. So it gave me a comfortability, and it also gave me other women who were in that same space as me to be like, oh, well, what's working for you? What's working for me? And so we all would just try different things, and it grew like that.
Now, was there, going back, I think about, taking that leap, right? A leap of faith. Were there times where you said to yourself, like, should I be doing this? What if this won't financially cover us? Like, was there any self-doubt at all?
It was because, I didn't know price points. I didn't really know, like, what I was doing. I was just, like, basically winging it. I didn't have a business plan. I was just, like, doing business as my name. Like, you know what I mean? I wasn't taking it serious. It was more of a hobby than I was taking it serious as the true source of income that it could be.
Okay. And it brought flexibility, right? Because you said your daughter had
Absolutely.
needed various treatments, and we talked about before the show, like IEP meetings that you have to go to, or sudden phone calls and things like that, where you have to be readily available. Your second daughter comes, right? And what was that experience like?
Excuse me. Well, with my second daughter, that was a trip, because my second daughter, I was a late mom. I had my second daughter at 41.
Okay.
So my second daughter, I might have found out when I was 16 weeks that there was a genetic issue.
Okay.
So we knew in advance that there could be a problem, and then we got the diagnosis. Came back that she had trisomy 21, which is a genetic deficiency, and we at that point had to make the decision whether we wanted to have her or not,
right.
And would we be able to take care of a child that may have so many issues?
A lot of needs, yeah.
That, like just my first daughter being on spectrum, this was like quadruple of, okay, like I don't even know what this lane is going to be.
Yeah.
So it was kind of like that's where your faith comes in, and I just stepped out of my faith.
And you have your second daughter, and there's different needs. There's different needs. Tell me how both your daughters differ, and what needs you have to provide.
Okay. Well, with Sahar, which is my oldest daughter, her issues when she was younger, they were both nonverbal until about 3.5, 4. So that was tough within itself, just kind of knowing whether they're going to talk or not. So it's kind of a lot of you never were prepared to like study body language to know like kind of like what's going on. But when your child is nonverbal, there's so many different cues that get heightened even in you that you don't even expect to come out within yourself. So Sahar started talking at 4. Merci is 8 now, and she's still nonverbal. So I have one daughter who is on the spectrum and is highly intellectual, where some people in our community would consider Asperger's or whatever, where the autism or the delays are not like in your face. Like it's like if you know, you know, but if you don't know, you probably won't know.
Yeah.
And where my daughter Merci, she's nonverbal, and we're still just using other ways for her to communicate and for us to understand her, which kind of pulled me into being a part of WOSEPAC.
Can you explain what?
WOSEPAC is it's the West Orange Parent Association Special Education Council. Sorry.
Okay.
I'm the co-chair of WOSEPAC, and one thing that I'm really, really, really excited about, which we have brought to our community, is we did one of the first communication boards at the special education school.
Oh, wow.
And if you have children who are nonverbal, you understand the PECs and the pictures, and our children communicate a lot with that.
Right.
And we just felt as parents in our community that it was a necessity for our children to be able to communicate even with the way that they do communicate in spaces where other children can communicate with their parents, can communicate with their teachers, and on playgrounds and different settings like that. How do you know, and how do our children express what they want to play with, how they're feeling, if they have to use a bathroom, X, Y, Z. So the communication boards and the PECs are essential. And so really proud that that's something that we brought to our community, and that we're pushing to bring not just in the school setting, but in the regular setting of a park that may be in your community, or a playground that may be in your community, but is not on school land. So,
And with a child being nonverbal, there could be frustration. Obviously, there's frustration on child's part of not being able to communicate their needs, but also as a parent being able to understand. Like, I think about sometimes my oldest son who is nonverbal. Like, I don't know all the time when he's sick. Like, you have to pick up on so many cues. Like, his ear's red, he's tugging at it. He's sleeping more. Is it a stomach issue? How do I figure out if he has a headache, right? Like, is he holding his head because he's just angry with me, or is he holding his head because there's something wrong? And so for you, was that a struggle, before the picture exchange?
it's still a struggle.
Still a struggle.
It's still a struggle. It's still a struggle. It's still a struggle because they cannot tell you how they're feeling. They cannot tell you what's going on with them. They could not tell you if someone was inappropriate with them, if someone squeezed them hard. They could not tell you if the bus aide did not strap them in correctly for their ride home. So you have to be, you grow a third eye without even knowing. You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of like, not to say you survey your child, but we know every inch of my daughter before she leaves, when she comes home. Just certain things you have to be a stickler on, because those little telltales are how you know if there's a problem, how you know if there's a rash, how you know. So I think that's an ongoing thing.
Yeah, I've had experienced some people who don't have a child, especially like autism, who feel like, oh, that's like over the top to have to like check their body and do all these extra things. But like you said, all those areas and then some. If someone was mean to them, right? How would we know? Right. And so it is so important. And some people say, well, that's hypervigilant, right? Like you're just always on guard. But it's hard to not be always surveying, the situation to make sure that your child is okay.
Oh, I'm a proud helicopter mom. I'm a proud helicopter mom. Like, it is what it is. It's gonna be what it's gonna be, and that's just what it is. Because I feel like, you know what I mean? Like, she can't talk, but I can. You know what I mean?
Right.
So it just is what it is.
Going back to your first daughter, daughter is verbal, super smart, super smart. We talked about the social cues, the socialization. Talk about the struggles that your other daughter has that a lot of people would look on the outside and say, she's fine. Like, I don't see autism, but that you see.
Well, my older daughter, like you mentioned, she's highly intellectual. Her autism shows up in her social, emotional and her and like safety issues, where it's like she has inappropriateness based upon not understanding the safety of just everybody is not safe, you know. It's not appropriate to hug the mailman from behind.
Right.
It's not appropriate to hug the principal, hug your teacher, you know, even with some of her friends, you know, like some people, you know, she doesn't really understand the personalism of someone's space.
Yes.
And you know, and she has a tendency, she has eloping tendencies where, you know, she can just walk off because she's just in her particular headspace, you know. So that's where it shows up a lot with her. And for us as parents, you worry about that with having a young girl, you know.
Absolutely.
And just all the safety things that entail and the safety things you don't want to think about that entail. So, yeah, you know, that's not something that you're going to just know by saying hello to her, that you're not going to know by seeing her in class. You know, it's kind of like, you know, some people will consider it maybe quirky, or some people may consider it a behavior issue, but you know, like many people, that's just her tick, that's her thing, you know. And it bothers us a lot.
I was going to
because
say,
I worry.
how do you deal with that, right?
I'm still working with it because I think that I overguard, you know. And overguarding means that I try to make sure that everything is safe about where she's going to be. That I know everything about the place, everything about the people, everything about, you know, where she's going. And you can't always know that, you know. Sometimes you have to step out on that same silent faith in places that I've been before, and just see and give her the opportunity and see how she handles herself. You know, and if she can handle it, I kind of let her fly. You know, if I see that it's overstimulating, or it's too much, or you know, it could be an unsafe environment where you know, people are not paying too much attention, then you know, we have to pull away from it.
Now, did you for yourself say like, hey, I need to give maybe her a little more leeway, or did you, or in a combination, did you have other people saying like, let her go, let her be?
No, I kind of noticed that she, how do I say it? She may not notice that people may notice that she's a little awkward, but people notice that she's a little awkward. She does not notice that, but it's not like she has a ton of friends, like, you know what I mean? Like calling me to have play dates, calling me to invite her places, you know what I mean? So you kind of see that in the distance in others, you know? So I just try to make sure that if she is going to be in those friend spaces, that they're safe friend spaces and it doesn't turn into a bullying situation. So,
yeah, it's so hard. It's just so hard because we have to contend with so many different things, right? We have to, you know, I think about my one son who really doesn't have friends. That was like, that hit me hard, you know, or we're not invited. I have, you know, friends who have neurotypical children. We never get invited to those parties and those spaces. And again, it could be just because they're, I don't know, but it was a grieving process on that with some friendships that I had. And so how do you manage that?
That's a work in progress, you know, because there have been occasions where I have noticed the bulliness, you know, in those friendship circles. But my daughter, where her spectrum comes in, she's like, she doesn't know, she doesn't notice it, she doesn't, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So there have been instances where I've had to speak to a parent, you know, about another child's insensitivity to my daughter, or maybe just their unknowledge of that my daughter is on spectrum, because they might not even know, and then see if it's an education piece missing that I can assist them, where maybe that behavior will just stop at what I observed. Maybe this can be a learning point, that can extend from parent to child.
Okay. And so for our viewers, a lot of you, I knew Richera, before this, we had met at, I don't even know which event we met at. We were at Nissan's Place, which is a wonderful nonprofit
It was at
organization.
the Mom's Weekend.
Oh, I feel like I met you before that. I don't know why. I feel like
it was at the Mom's Retreat.
So yeah, we definitely went on that retreat, which was so nice. It was amazing. Awesome. Listen, if you can, moms, you can find some kind of retreat to just that was. I hope they have it next year.
Me too.
But it having that Nissan's Place again, that organization, we had Nadine on who headed up that organization because of her son, and also because of seeing where the needs in the community were lacking. Do you find that you found support in going to events and meeting other parents? Like, did that help you in any way?
Oh yeah. Because when we moved to New Jersey, I didn't know anyone, and here it is. I have these two special need girls, and it was kind of like, well, how am I going to find my tribe? How am I going to find people who understand, One thing I did know is that when we were in New York with my older daughter, we worked a lot with the JCC. So I knew that there was a JCC in the town we moved to. So I'm like, okay, well, at least I know JCC has those services, But it was amazing being able to find a collective of women who I can kind of like let my shoulders down and be like, oh my God, like I have so many questions, being able to see moms who had children who were older than me. And to see moms who had children who were younger than me. And it was just like, wow, finally I have someone who can answer these questions for me, But there was a time when I had my daughter Merci, the head pediatrician in the NICU, she was a special need mom as well.
Okay.
She came over to me and she spoke to me for about 45 minutes. And she kind of let me know that although in the medical field we love you, and we need you, but she said that the most information that will be so imperative to me will come from other parents.
Ooh, that's powerful.
She said, will come from other moms and other people who have walked the steps before you. And I was just like, wow, well, where do they exist,
Where they at?
I have so many questions. Oh, my goodness. So it was so relieving when I finally found that comfortable spot where my questions wouldn't be, like, so heavy. And so, like, serious and so, like, change the mood and stuff like that, Yeah.
And you don't have to explain. Right? Like you could be at an event, my son could be like twirling and stuff, and it's just, that's the norm. Nobody's like taking a second look. It's just like, okay. And there's just something about that.
It's very relieving.
Yeah, it's very relieving. And listening to the battle, all our battles are different, in some ways. And just sometimes when you look at, what you're going through and then you see what another mom is going through, it puts things in perspective. There's a lot of single moms out there who are doing this on their own and may not have a support or resources out there for them, so it just kind of gives us that little space of like gratitude and just, that we have this. Yeah, we have this, so that's beautiful, and I'm so happy that I met you.
Oh, you too. Me too. And it gives you a way to, I'm all about paying it forward. So if I learn from you and there's someone who has that question, I'm like, oh, wait a minute, I have that answer now because so-and-so told me. And it's kind of like, even if I don't have the information for you, I'm like, hey, well, come to this event. There'll be some other moms there that I'm quite sure can answer that for you.
Yes.
So it is been I receive and then I give to pay it forward to someone else. You know what I mean? So I really like that. And in that is also why I like being a part of WOSEPAC, because it's kind of like I have somewhere to resell the jewels that I find. Like the jewels of information is given to me, and then I give it to her, and then she gives it to her, and then she gives it to
that's
her.
beautiful.
It's like the traveling jeans. I don't know if you ever see the traveling pants.
No,
You ever seen that movie?
No, I didn't.
Yeah.
Was it a book too?
It was a book as well.
Okay.
It was a book as well. So
wow.
it's just like the camaraderie of just, being able to have a sisterhood in just like an item or a thing, and not really in something that we have in common, but we have in common just all these simple particulars.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, what's your self-care look like?
Ooh, my self-care.
I liked how you took a deep breath.
My self-care, being a special need mom was a reality check, especially with self-need care. Because myself and my husband and our dad, we personally, like pre-children, we came from the industry of looks, the industry of, like it's all about what you got on. It's all about how you got dressed. It's about, I've done music videos. He's been a top fashion model. So we were always so used to being in that moment and ready for that moment. And it's like, now that we have kids, it's like, oh man, I gotta go get my hair done. I forgot to do my nails. It's kind of like all of those things are so third-dairy, not even secondary, that it's kind of like when I do have any time, I kind of have to like go back and remember myself, like, girl, you need to go get your hair done. Girl, you need to go, girl. So a lot of times I like when I get invited to things from the other ladies, because it gives me a reason to be like, oh, I've been holding on to this outfit for 2 years. I'm really going to wear it today. I'm really going to wear it today. You know what I mean? So I look forward to those moments.
Okay.
But no, I am not the woman I used to be as far as with self-care. My self-care is my children first, and whatever extra time I have, if there's some roles to the side, I put them in, and, it's just,
And we have many roles, right? We're not just like mom, but wife, right? And just being there for your husband and the needs there, and just child, family, and where you are at in that role, and then also business. So being pulled from so many different arenas, it is hard to find that moment of like, okay, me.
Therapy.
Yeah.
Therapy. I've had a therapist since my oldest daughter was, I don't know, since like 2013. Since I had postpartum, I've had a therapist who has now kind of become my friend, because, she's been through so much with me. But I will definitely say that is essential. That is essential. Someone who can help you cater to yourself, you know what I mean? And how you feel going through the things that you're going through, and the overwhelmingness of the roller coaster of just not knowing what the day-to-day is going to be. You need that person who kind of helps you there.
I know there's like a lot of moms. I feel like therapy has become cool now. There was a time, you don't go to therapy, right? Like, or there has to be something really wrong with you to go to therapy. But it is so beneficial to have that neutral person. And I'm sure there was times where maybe your therapist challenged you on some of the things, like, do you think this is, and helped you to come up with some coping strategies to manage. So I think it's great that you're still in therapy, riding it out.
I mean, forever. I think I will forever be in therapy. And for me,
it's okay.
That's a beautiful thing. I mean, for me, it's kind of like, that should let you know that I kind of got things a little more together than if I didn't.
yeah, and that you just were open to the process, and and it just it definitely like shows, And again, we have our days and our moments where it's just like, oh, I don't feel like I was really badass that moment, But I'm just happy that you were able to find like an outlet for all of that.
You need it
Now, how do you juggle? Again, I know that you're home, right, with your at-home business. Do you want to talk a little more about your at-home business?
Oh, sure. My company's name is Closet 12812. 12/8/12 is my oldest daughter's birthday. She's born on December 8th. So that was, and she was the one who kind of spearheaded me falling into that place. So now, Closet 12/8/12 is luxury reselling. So I kind of went into the luxury end of it, where it's kind of high-end luxury, but at a affordable price.
We love affordable.
Yeah, where it may be your top brand, but it might be like a season or something away. So it gives the average person or a mom or something like that a way to have, some high quality stuff at a reasonable price. So I started on Poshmark. Oh man, I'm on Poshmark. I'm on Etsy. I'm on eBay. I was on Tracy that now turned into Versty. And I wasn't too sure whether I wanted to go to. I've been online so much without brick and mortar that I said, do I want to kind of dance with the brick and mortar? That kind of didn't work out. So I said, you know what, let's find some other avenues. So now we're on Walmart. Ooh. And we are currently going to be on Amazon soon. So just trying to find a way, and this is definitely for any special need mom. Reselling is such a good way for you to, like, if you have downtime, if you need to get rid of stuff, if you're cleaning the house, if you're spring cleaning, how to get a couple dollars from yourself and also get that stuff out the way, So it's really easy for a mom who needs to make a couple extra dollars to do things like that, So now we're just trying to scale a different way, and I love it. And I'm so happy that I found it, and just really trying to open it up to autism moms and let them know that that e-commerce and being able to be home and just take a picture of your old shoes that you don't want anymore, some shoes that you had sitting in the closet, and you're just like, I'm never gonna wear these. I had a baby, my feet are not even an 8.5 anymore, they're a 9. You know what I mean? It's kind of like, take what you got and turn it into income, get your money back from it, and then you can be able to, just use it for other things that you need to, which is probably summer camp, because that's so expensive.
True. That's true.
That the early sales, they give you the early bird special now for the summer. So, so I think that is a good way for, for moms or for other women to just, how to say, something that you may think is trash may be treasure to someone else.
That's true.
So.
That's true. And especially because the opportunities when you have a special need child, and just there's also other things that go along with it. The child may have medical needs. Like you said, that the child may need all these therapies. And having traditional jobs sometimes just is not, it doesn't accommodate for, it just doesn't, right? So I love how you decided, and you fell into it, you bumped into it, how you came upon that and grew it. And it's just absolutely amazing, and being able to, because it's giving you the ability to be present, right, for your daughters and for your family, And
then I finally took it serious from a hobby to a business. So I went and got my SBA certification. I went and got my minority women certification. I, turned it from a doing business as to a LLC, and, did other things that I need to do on the business aspect, so that it's taken business and taken serious and seen as a business,
Right.
Yeah.
So, my favorite part of the show is when we gift back some gems, some advice to that mom that is out there who, again, may have just got the diagnosis, may have to leave her career that she's had for years, because what we do is we put our children first, right? And so what advice would you give her if she's thinking about doing something like, what you got going, or going out on her own and doing some other kind of entrepreneurial work from home kind of avenue? What advice would you give to that mom?
I would say to that, Mom, is that a lot of times we don't recognize that the gift that we have, we already possess. You know, so take a step back and look at yourself. Look at the things that you're not realizing that you have a gift in. It may be crocheting. It may be that you're good with a hot glue gun. It may be that you realize that there's some clothes that can't fit you or your child anymore. And just with your cell phone now, you can turn your cell phone, and just with that cell phone, you can turn it into income for yourself. So make some headbands, make some little bracelets. You know, there's so many things that you can just do just with just doing something, you know, and it can turn into income for you just from your cell phone.
Just from your cell phone.
Just from your cell phone.
And you look
something that we use every day,
right,
to look at other people and to purchase from other people the same thing that you could be using your cell phone with and doing for yourself.
Right. And utilizing that time appropriately, right? So sometimes, we don't realize how much time we are on the phone, scrolling. You could be utilizing that time for business.
Absolutely.
And there's lots of moms out there who have like these they create the nails, the jewels on the nails, and they sell it, and they're making so much money. And we had one mom on who was struggling, and she's now got this huge eyelash business, right? And I love how you had said, just something that you may be passionate about. Like we don't realize that I love to cook. Well, you could be selling out of your home some of those pies or whatever the case may be.
Or you could just take your cell phone and start recording yourself cooking.
Yes.
And before you know it, now you have a cooking show.
Yes.
So there's so many things that open up for just the crafty mom that just thinks out of the box. Like I said, there's always something as a mom that we're good at. I can cook, you can braid hair, you're good at, you pick beautiful jewelry or crystals, or you're good at giving advice, can turn into a consultation or an ebook. Look within yourself, because we look a lot for things that are outside of what we do possess, but we're just not looking that deep into it.
Right. Like, I have no shame in this. Like, when I'm on Instagram, I love, there's one influencer on there who, I love how she takes care of her dog. She's just cleaning her dog's face and giving it a bath. And I'm just like, that is like the greatest thing. Yeah, and she's making lots of money because someone like me likes to see people clean their dogs.
I like to watch people get their hair washed.
Is it right?
So that's what,
right?
I mean, it's therapeutic for me. It's just my thing. That's why I said we all have a quirk to us. Everyone has that little thumb screw, that little thing that just makes you kind of like, little out of the fray. Yeah. But then it's like, then you embrace that. And you're like, oh, I am the cool, quirky kid. And that's perfectly fine.
That is perfectly fine.
Perfectly fine.
And just make a way. Just there's always a way. Right, and I just so happy that you came all the way down here. She came. She's in another county, y'all. Like, she came down here.
Happy. Yeah, I'm so happy that you invited me. I looked forward to it. I looked forward to it. I was like, oh my God, when is it gonna be my time? I was like, I can't wait. When is it my time? Is it my month? Is it my month? And here it is. So
here it is. Yeah. But I'm again so happy that I had the ability to meet you. You're an absolutely phenomenal woman.
Likewise.
Inspiring, phenomenal mom, raising two beautiful daughters. I kind of if I had like a hat on, I'd give my hat to you. But that you did what you did to make a way for you to be more present for your children, but also like to do something that you find joy, and that's like self-care. I love you love what you do.
I do.
Which is absolutely amazing.
I do without even thinking about it. That's how I knew that I loved it. It's kind of like I just do it.
So how would listeners find you? Like, if they were like, we want to find her.
Okay. Well, you can always find me on IG at _closet12812. That's December 8th, 2012. You can also find me on Poshmark at Richera 137. I'm on eBay at Richera 2011. I am on Walmart, but I think there's not a way to like find you because you're in with everyone else.
Okay.
So, yeah, right now you can find me on Poshmark and eBay and, Macari, I think I am, Richera J. Yeah, but if you normally follow my Instagram, I normally have like different links and stuff to that.
Okay.
But I'm always open to any mom who wants to get into reselling. Like, hit me up, ask me any questions. I mean, I would like to get into doing like maybe posh and sips myself, to
Ooh,
where,
I love that.
for special need moms, they can come there and I can give them a tutorial, like a step by step on how they can get this going for themselves. So
Yeah. So, oh wow, beautiful. Can you invite me? I want to go.
sure,
I want to
absolutely,
go.
absolutely.
I want to go. And so I always say, like, when we have moms that come on and are, they have their product or what they do is in so many areas, and you're like, oh, I know I'm here too. You're huge, like you're big, like when I can't remember, like, I'm also here too. Like you're a big thing, So
Yeah,
just wanted to remind
I've been doing
you.
it for like what, 11 years now.
Yeah,
and it dawned on me. I was like, I've been doing this for 11 years.
right. And
It
look how
dawned
you
on me
grew.
when I need to get my certifications, and they were like, "Oh, we need 3 to 5 years of your income tax done on that particular business." I was like, "Oh, I have that! I have it! I have it! I have it!" I was so excited.
That is exciting. That is exciting. And so, again, thank you, Richera, for being on the show.
Thank you for
so
having me.
much. And, for our listeners, I know you got so much out of this. And what I got out of this is that if you put your mind to it, you can find your niche, your thing. But the importance of believing in yourself, right? Believing that you can do it. Right now, more than ever, it is important for us to create our own, right? So get out there. Richera, her information will be in the show notes. She's saying, like, hey, reach out to me. I can help you. You can turn this hobby into a business. And staying at home, pulling out your cell phone. Listen, like, I need to get a couple of cell phones because I feel like that'll be making me money.
Right.
I think I got two, but just saying. But on that note, as we always, stay fierce, stay determined, and stay courageous like Miss Richera. We will see you next Tuesday, every Tuesday. Bye.
Bye.